Have you ever missed any big relationship red flags? I know I definitely have, and that's why I'm creating this video today. And I'm going to share with you 10 signs to look out for so you can avoid abusive, codependent, or destructive relationships in the future. Many of us miss or ignore signs that a relationship is not working. We stay too long with the wrong people. Let me know in the comments if you've ever done that. Sometimes we're not even sure if it's a real red flag or just an annoying habit. Let me know if you've ever confused the two. It's common. So we really want to be able to recognize the signs that a relationship is not going to work early on so you can avoid pain and suffering in your life. And before we get into the 10 relationship red flags, I want to talk about three main categories of red flags. The first category is red flags with yourself. This is about how you are when you're with this man. Do you feel that you can be yourself around him? Is your mental or physical health better or worse when you're together? If you're feeling worse, there's a red flag with you and how you feel. Then there's the category of red flags with him. This is about the man's behavior, his personality traits, his beliefs, and his values. So if you're concerned about how he behaves with you or other people, or you clash with each other's values and beliefs, those are red flags to look out for. And the last category is red flags with the relationship itself. And this is how you interact with each other. Do you have a lot of disagreements? Do you avoid talking about important issues? Is he unable to go deeper with you? So we're going to get into each of these categories with the 10 red flags. If these red flags show up in dating or your relationship, it doesn't mean the relationship is automatically over. I encourage you to get curious and learn a little bit more about the red flag and see if it can be resolved, because it's not always so black and white. Healthy and effective communication can often resolve relationship concerns before they become full-blown red flags. So let's talk about the top 10 relationship red flags that you might have missed. Number 1, he has poor conflict resolution. You argue a lot and he refuses to discuss certain issues or acknowledge your concerns. Number 2, he is critical. He criticizes you a lot and he wants you to change, lose weight, wear different clothes for him. I've met people who had partners who said, I want you to dress differently. I want you to go to the gym. Criticism, big red flag. Number 3, you don't feel safe to be yourself. This is a big one, because as relationships progress, you should feel more comfortable with the person you're with, and you should share more of your true self, the deeper levels of who you are. So it's a red flag if you don't feel safe to share the deeper parts of you, your experiences, your interests, your thoughts, your feelings, or maybe you feel judged or criticized when you do share. And so you begin to suppress parts of yourself that your partner disapproves of. That is a big red flag. And I see this one a lot. I definitely have changed myself to fit in with a man that I did not belong with. So let me know if that's ever happened to you too. Number 4, friends and family members have concerns. Sometimes the people closest to you notice red flags that you can't see. So we don't have to listen to every single comment that every person makes, but if a lot of people who are close to you, who you trust, notice the same issues, pay attention, because these could be concerns that you don't want to see. Number 5, he is controlling. Healthy relationships require a certain level of compromise, but if you're being asked to do things his way all the time, your relationship is going to be out of balance. And if you're always prioritizing his needs over your own, you will eventually feel resentful. You will become completely lost in the relationship. So pay attention to those signs. Number 6, he's not comfortable going deep. with emotional depth. If he can't express feelings and needs, or if he can't communicate in an intimate way, then your intimacy and your closeness will not grow. It will always be challenging. There are certain people, and people especially with an avoidant attachment style, who are uncomfortable going deeper. And so this may not work for you if that's the kind of relationship you want. Number 7, he wants you to give up your friends, your interests, or your goals. This is what happens in really manipulative relationships because you want to feel that a relationship adds to your life. It shouldn't take away from your life. It shouldn't take away from what's important to you. And while you're first getting to know somebody, it's a very common thing that you're going to spend a lot of time together, especially at the very beginning. But you don't want to give up the things that are important to you, especially if he gets angry or jealous or critical, if you spend time with the people you love the most. This is really, really important. Maybe you've been taking a class and you gave it up because you want to spend time with him because he says that's more important to him. Make sure that you keep your life full and don't give up the things that are important to you for anyone. Number 8, he pressures you to escalate the relationship before you're ready. And that can mean pressuring you for sex, pressuring you to be exclusive before you're ready, to move in together, to get married before you're ready. My husband proposed to me after, I don't know, 6 weeks, something like crazy like that. And there were a lot of red flags that I didn't know to name. I felt in my body there was something off. And so I delayed it by maybe another month. I had no idea what I was doing. And I wasn't being asked to get married by any other man at the time. And so I said yes. But I knew this wasn't healthy to escalate this relationship so quickly. We barely knew each other when we got married. So listen to what's important to you. Pay attention. If you get that little instinct that something's off, get a little more curious about it. Make sure you don't just succumb to somebody else's timeline because they're pressuring you. And often what happens is he'll say, "Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong to wait too long. Oh, you're just a prude because you don't want to have sex when I want to have sex." That is a huge red flag. Don't let people call you names, put pressure on you. Number 9 is a big one, and this is a pretty obvious one, but anybody who lies or cheats is breaking trust. So trust is such an important component of a healthy relationship. And infidelity is one of the most hurtful forms of betrayal. But there are many types of infidelity and many types of ways to be unfaithful, because there are the blatant ones where you catch somebody cheating physically with somebody else, but then there are the emotional affairs, the online affairs, and often the person who's having this affair will say it's not a big deal because we weren't sexual, or we're just taking it online, or we're not going to really meet in person. But it's a betrayal because they are turning towards somebody else for emotional uh, connection and not towards you. And there's a big difference between having friends that you can do that with and having someone of the opposite sex that you're flirting with and really betraying the relationship. So trust your instincts on this and get curious about what's going on. And if he denies it, that's a big red flag. Number 10, abuse of any kind. And that includes verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, financial abuse, gaslighting. We all know that abuse is a red flag, but we often make excuses for abuse. If you have ever been abused in a relationship or in childhood, it can be hard to really label it as abuse because it's familiar. And maybe in childhood or in other relationships, you blamed yourself. And so you minimized the fact that it was abuse and it was a red flag that is absolutely not okay. You may have had a partner in the past who said, "Oh, it's all in your head. I'm doing these things because I love you." Don't fall for that anymore. So somebody who calls you names, somebody who tries to control you in any way, those are all forms of abuse, and they tend to get worse over time. So the first time you notice a red flag, talk about it. Get curious. It may be something you can work out, like finding more effective ways to communicate or to argue fair, to fight fair. However, any type of abusive behavior will tend to get worse and more frequent over time. So stop excusing the inexcusable and walk away from a relationship that feels controlling or abusive in any way. And I hope that this video was helpful and you will stop excusing the inexcusable.